Okay, ladies and gents, it's Justin87, and this has actually been a requested video for, I guess I want to say, quite some time by many of you, to basically kind of go over, I guess, a basic foundational set piece for what goes in, I guess we could say, my mindset, as far as applying certain techniques, and procedures, well, why I do some of the things I do and whatnot. Disclaimer. I cannot take what's in my brain and put it into yours. That is never going to happen. My experiences, I cannot just translate, package up, and then send to you in a video to make you the equivalent of whatever. Okay, it's impossible to do. I'm also not even here to teach you anything. Uh, I don't like doing that. I don't like to set the standard that this is the way that things should be done because CQB is an art, not a science. It's very dynamic. Combat itself is very dynamic. Uh, there is no hard and fast rule that applies to every fucking situation. Anybody who tells you that is full of shit. So, this is not gospel. Don't take it as gospel. Um, that being said, these are just things that I utilize. So that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to show you the methodology that I use. Whether you choose to use it or not is entirely up to you. It's called a tactical toolbox for a reason. So take what works for you and don't use what doesn't work for you. As long as what you're doing seems to work, it's fucking applicable. So, um, 10,000 different ways to do shit. So here's some ways that I choose to do. Um, also, again, with that being said, that should take care of any comments of, well, I do this in my military unit, or I do this in my airsoft crew, or fucking some fucking forum on the internet said this. I don't give a shit, okay? I don't care. Use it, don't use it, don't give a shit. But I really don't give a fuck. Uh, Especially if you don't have any actual operational experience applying this shit and you just want to regurgitate some shit you read on the internet, I'm probably just going to make fun of you. Okay? I don't give a fuck. So take what I'm offering here and use it or don't. All right? Let's just get that shit out of the way now and go from there. So, that being said, I'm going to assume that everyone understands the basic foundational stuff. At least if you're playing these types of games, at some point you've heard some of the very bare bones things of crosses and button hooks and stuff like that. So I'm not really going to go over how to do a cross, how to do a button hook, or everything else. That should be foundational knowledge you can probably Google and understand. The point of that is you're going to go left, you're going to go right at some point. So when you break the threshold, regardless of where you're at, you're either going to elect to go left or right. You can call it whatever the fuck you want, but let's just break it down to simplicity, okay? So, and that's also going to be situational. So for me, if I'm approaching a door, open threshold, I'm already on the left side. There's no reason for me to cross on the right side, situationally dictating, depending upon where the rest of the stack is behind me and everything else. I've already got about, I want to say like 20 to 30% of what I can see in the sandbag room here. So I own this real estate already. So if I feel like I need to, and I have to make this decision quickly, if I feel like I need to get more information on the left side of the room, then I might decide to cross the threshold since it's already open, right? So I can work this way if I want. And if I know if a number 2 man feeds off that, maybe he'll want to split this. If he doesn't, and I feel like I need to get more information, then I can pie it out. And get more information, assuming that we're not compromised or anything else. Now, I will tell you, I would probably change that up. If I saw that was an open threshold there, I would probably stop. Just because now I've got a lot of considerations, okay? But that being a closed door, I'm going to go ahead and just keep pieing it out. All right. So in this particular situation, that's what I would do. All right, now that I've got a warm and fuzzy, I feel like I've seen about 80 to 90% of the room, then I'll commit. And this is another consideration. Once you decide to cross that threshold, you need to commit to left or right. I don't give a fuck what you decide to do, but if you can tell kind of what I'm already doing, it looks like I'm already deciding to go left. In real life situations, body language and feeding off body language is very essential for the rest of the stack behind you, especially the number 2 man, because that number 2 man needs to be nut to butt to you, because you are trusting him to clear the side that you cannot see. If that number 2 man is slow, or he's not on his A game, you're probably gonna get shot in the fucking back. So you need to not send mixed signals. That is one key takeaway on this. If I could say with pretty solid certainty that, at least for playing games or anything else, you'll actually see me when I play Arma. I will literally, if I'm number 2 man, I will try to sprint to stay as close as I can to the 1 man and try to get through that threshold if I can push it as close to simultaneously as I can. Okay, so in real life, the body language, there's shifts in weight. If I see shoulder shift, if I see a hip shift, even slightly, that to me, that sends an immediate indicator to me that he's going left or right. So based upon this, I'm crossing. I'm pretty much committing left at this point. It would be a wasted effort for me to suddenly shift right, and that would send a bad mixed signal. But I can already tell, the 2 man can already tell I'm trying to push left. All right. So bear that in mind if you're a number 1 man. Based upon the way you approach something is going to be an indicator to this. So generally, it's a good idea to commit to something. So, all right, close threshold. I don't like not being on the doorknob side. So if I had a 2 man, I would probably give it up to him to conduct the breach on the door, whatever he wants to do his assessment, whatever. I don't like reaching across doorways. Sometimes you can't help it. It is what it is. But, in a particular instance, maybe the 2 man has already pulled the fucking pin on his flashbang and he's ready to deploy. Well, now you don't have a choice. You're going to have to throw this door open. All right? Or peek it if you need to. If it's locked, you're going to have to work across the door. It is what it is. Unless you want him to throw away the flashbang. If I'm not compromised, I don't want him to throw away the flashbang to just give us up. I'd rather just reach across the door and pick it. So, thankfully, throwing open the door in this game is a neutral situation, meaning that it's in the middle of the doorway, top. So that's a good thing. But if it's locked, you're gonna have to reach across. It just is what it is. Kicking is also seems to be neutral, which is good. But generally, if the knob is on that side, I'll let him work it. So it just avoids a lot of sticky situations if I can, because enemies can shoot through the door and you can shoot through the door, at least in this game, which is, I think, a cool little addition. So, but since I'm solo, I'll throw this open and I'll work it. So I have to stay in low ready. It's not gonna let me bring my weapon up. So other considerations. Actually, you know what? Let's just get through this so I can fucking have the weapon up. Alright. What's some other general considerations here? Rooms tend to get broken down into basic structures. There's corner feds, there's center feds, there's, half walls, partitions, T-shapes, L-shapes, everything else. So once you kind of break down rooms into basic shapes, it kind of makes it easy to relay information to the rest of the stack. So, and a kind of an agreed upon methodology to take them. So you might agree with the group that if there's an L-shaped hallway, you know, this is what we're gonna do. We're either gonna high-low bump it, or you know, you might run the rabbit, or whatever you want to do. In particular for that certain situation. Okay, one man. So what you'll generally see is some videos you'll see me talking to relay information. Other videos you will see me not talk so much. Generally, if you're dealing with people that you haven't worked with a lot, or there's new members or whatever, generally because people have not been working together for a long time, they don't know how to feed off each other's body language, what we call implied communication. There's no set standard for the implied communication. You guys don't have set SOPs. You haven't worked together enough to have a set standard to know what's going to happen. You might understand it, have basic foundational knowledge, but you haven't worked enough to feed off each other. So what I will say as one man, your rule is to paint the picture for the stack behind you. If you can call out, you know, hey, L shape, T shape, closed door right, open door left, open door deep right, whatever. You need to paint the picture for the stack behind you, especially if you have people you haven't worked with before or whatever. As a general rule, communicate, okay? Once you get to a point where you've got a group of dudes you've been working together with for a while, you may not have to talk so much. You can start using some of that implied communication. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and address this now, because I know people are wanting to know, because I've seen it in the comments section a lot. Why is my flashlight constantly going on and off? Okay. Why do you do that? Is it on your right? No, it's not on my right mouse button. It's actually on my one of my thumb buttons. Okay. Why? Why don't I just leave it on? That's force of habit from IRL situations. I think where that will actually come into a factor, or come in, wow, was that a sentence? That wasn't proper grammar. I don't care. Anyway, where that will potentially be a factor is PvP, and I'd really like to see this incorporated. Think about this. When you're streaming a light, and it's a dark situation, that light appears as a beam. Well, the origin of that beam can be articulated, especially in a very dark room. So if you're leaving your beam on and you're flashing around everywhere, guess what? Say this is a pitch black ass room, and someone's in that fucking corner. You can't see him, and you're just, hey, I'm beaming. You're kind of spotlighting where the fuck you're at. You're giving a visual indicator on where you are. He knows where you're at. All right. And maybe in a PvE situation, we're doing single player or you're doing co-op with your dudes, that might not be a factor to the AI. I don't know. I'd like it to be. That'd be cool. But in PvP, I can tell you that should be a factor. So I don't like to leave it just hanging on there. If I need to, I will. But I like to gather the information, gather the information, gather the information. I'm not giving them a point of origin on where the beam is coming from so they know where I'm at, so they can just line me up over here and just wait. Or get the jump on me because he sees the beam is over here and just smoke me. I'm not about that life. So I will gather information, gather information. If I have time, I'll swing it. If I'm pieing it out, it's alright. Information gathered, information gathered, information gathered, information gathered. I can see enough. Oh, I want to articulate the thread a little bit more. I don't know if there's a blinding feature. I'll have to find out when they push out the PvP if the lumens play a factor. But that's why I do it. Nope, it's locked. Good, I'm glad it's locked. We're going to articulate another situation here. I don't like to cross thresholds if I can help it. in this particular instance, either way, you're putting your body across the threshold because guess where the fucking door handle is. I will avoid crossing closed thresholds as much as possible as well, unless I have to. Okay. A lot of guys like to do the split stack methodology. You don't have to do the split stack all the time. Matter of fact, I've seen guys where a split stack is not beneficial. Okay. So I'm not going to get a layout to where that's a thing, like a long hallway. So to break that into perspective, what I'll see a lot of guys do is say there's a long hallway with multiple doors. And fuck you. No idea how many comments I get about that. Yes, I missed the guy behind the brick fucking cement block, cinder block thing. Who cares? It was my first time playing. Generally, they will, like, splitting this stack is okay. But what I'll see guys do is, like, this might be a long hallway, and there's a follow-on door, say, like, right here. And there's a longer hallway. And they'll split it, and they'll put a guy here. And it's like, well, you're giving your back up to potential known threats. Don't do that. Because now, I mean, you can, depending upon the situation, but now the rest of the stack has to offset to cover down on what you're blocking. Get out of the habit of doing split stacks all the time. Okay? In this particular instance, you can do it and get away with it. You know, it might be beneficial to do so because of the layout of the room. You know, I don't want a long stack because that might push the stack out here and that exposes to angles that are bad, right? So it might be beneficial to split the stack so I have everyone along the same wall. Plus, it allows me to get coverage on multiple angles here at the same time, which is cool. Hey, look, a partition and a half wall, well, a window. So, how about that? Well, it's not really a partition. You can work it as a separate room. So stop split stacking everything. Now, this particular case, if I come through here, I'm gonna roll just because the door handle's on that side. Now, if it's locked, I don't have to for ready or not because I can just throw it open from the middle. But if it's locked, well, all right. Someone's going to have to, unless you want to cross the doorway, I would rather just roll it and work it from there. Okay? Especially if I got a long stack behind me. I don't want to reach across the doorway and work it. I would feel better taking the calculated risk of potentially crossing the doorway for a split second than reaching my entire body and working it for a long period of time. Okay, this video is encroaching upon 20 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up here and say, hey, you know, hopefully you took something from this, and there wasn't really a rubric or a foundational method I was trying to go through or a set of guidelines or bullet points I was hitting. It was just shit off the top of my head. Also based upon some of your comments and questions that you had in the comments section. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time, consider subscribing and leaving a like if you want, or dislike. Whatever. Algorithm says interaction's good, so interaction is good. But thank you all for coming to my TED Talk.